I'm a storyteller, so I'll tell a story. When we started Crossroads, my wife was a country girl, and I was speaking around the country as a youth speaker. My passion for teenagers and her passion for her home, which was rural America, was just that God unify us in that sense of call. Churches can't necessarily provide for their own youth ministry. Youth ministry is expensive, it's also labor intensive, and it's specific to a set of skills and talents. So to do youth ministry well, we realized we had to create a missions organization that would do that. That's what we are. We're a missions organization to rural American churches in the lives of teenagers.
The idea is that there would be locations all over the states within rural communities that provide an experience and quality of teaching and training and discipleship that you might find at any inner city.
We're doing something that no other ministries are doing. We're going into areas that are lacking services, not only for their youth, but also for their communities more largely. And we offer training for our volunteers that impacts generations and that builds into our students and to their lives and to their families.
In fact, in almost every major moral marker, rural kids are more challenged. The suicide rate is about twice what it is anywhere else. A kid in rural America is more likely to do drugs. Kids have children out of wedlock more in the country. Kids don't go to college, and it happens more here than in the inner cities of the United States.
There is no too small investment. Taking a kid to coffee when he just had a sleepless night because he was fighting with suicide, giving him the hope of Christ that will help him understand that he's loved, that he has value. They need it, and that's why we're here.
Rural communities especially, it takes a long time to be accepted if you're not from there. You really have to be good with people and ready to meet everyone and hear their life stories and get to know the heritage of the town, because there are generations of history that are affecting the families and the students that you're working with right now.
If you are from a rural community and you desire for God to impact a change, we need you to go back to your rural community, and we'll equip you to do so and support you in doing that. If you're listening and you're not from a rural community, please keep listening, because we need people that are not from rural communities that can bring in a different view, that can join with somebody from a rural community, because it takes two people to plant a Crossroads farm.
We're really looking for more and more directors, those who want to help coordinate the ministry and preach and connect with the churches, and those who want to organize all the details that make it all happen so that we can plant literally all over the country to reach those 12 million teenagers in rural America.
If I was asked who should come to Crossroads Farm, I'll tell you, as we grow and it's rapid growth, we need graphics artists and videographers. We need people who are excellent writers. We need people who are just world-class youth workers who want to deal specifically with teenagers. We need people who are able to hold us accountable financially. We need people who will help us raise funds to develop other properties. We need everybody.
There's a lot of positions within Crossroads that don't exist yet, so there's a lot of opportunity for growth and for your specific skill set, whatever that may be. For me, it was a very intentional decision not to go into youth ministry as a major, just because I saw pretty early on that there's a gap in between missions and business in particular. That's kind of where my passion area lies. So my position is a new position that's never existed before. And so a lot of what I get to do is help create that position. And hopefully then the next person that comes in behind me can do it even better, and we can keep progressing.
If you think you don't have a skill set that is usable in missions, you might be wrong. While volunteering at Crossroads, God was building up these interests in my life that I now use full-time. Photography and graphic design can definitely be used for full-time ministry work. Any sort of communications would be useful. There's a lot of PR that needs to happen, and we're just short of people.
I don't think when you join this ministry, you'll ever look around and go, well, I'm bored now. And if you do, I think it's just because you maybe got too narrow in what you're doing. There's just so many places for you to serve and to get plugged in. And with the expansion of Crossroads Farm now, and we're looking all across the country, there's opportunity to be trained and to grow in an area and then to take that and implement it somewhere else. Really, the limit for what we do is the 12 million teenagers in rural America. If they all became saved, we'd be out of work. But assuming that's not going to happen anytime soon, there's really no ceiling in the work that we're doing.
The voices that you hear in your head and maybe from other people, like you're leaving security of a job to go do the unknown. But if God's called you to go into ministry, I would encourage you to jump. I coach the missionaries that come on staff with Crossroads Farm and their support raising development, and able to help them articulate their vision clearer and connect and engage with people.
You might feel like you're a failure. There are youth pastors that have been fired before, and pastors as well, for different reasons. But God has that right fit for you. And it's just being open, having ears to hear, and have discernment to recognize His direction.
My wife and I joined a ministry in Michigan, thinking that this was going to be maybe a long-term place for us to continue to minister to students. Our time in the ministry ended horribly. I think I was 42 or 43, and I was thinking, man, I'm washed up. Like, maybe I'm just done with ministry. During this season, we had a pastor friend of ours connected to Crossroads Farm tell us, hey, I've got this couple you need to meet. Heard what they were doing in their heart for youth. And we realized that God had really led us through a difficult path into Kalkaska so that we can make this connection and plant with Crossroads Farm.
I started with Crossroads Farm having finished over 20 years of military service as a military pay person. So when my friend told me about the job at Crossroads Farm, he said they're looking for a bookkeeper, and I said, great, I can do civilian bookkeeping. I did military pay, there's nothing I can't do. I coached, so I always felt that I was impacting my community. I always felt that I was impacting students. But I've never felt the impact that I have had within my church, within my community, and then working with Crossroads. Was it scary? Absolutely. But when you know that God is calling you to something greater, you don't really ask the how, you just do. And I'm so thankful that I did that.
Don't make excuses if you have a calling on your life. Don't use past hurts to try and evade what you're supposed to do.
It's difficult not to get emotional when you talk about the things that shape you, because in shaping you, you disappears. I fell in love with Jesus Christ when I was 3, learned at a very young age to hear what His voice sounded like. But having that relationship with Jesus, combining it to the world and being the first person in my immediate family to go to college, I would say that although not arrogant, my faith was probably pretty cocky, because I knew that we served a great God and He wanted to do powerful things, that He does powerful things, and I wanted to be a part of it, and I couldn't wait to share with everyone else the great things that God would do. How it shaped me is that I'm really, really very incapable, and I can pour myself out like a drink offering every day, which is what we seek to do. Lord, use everything that we have every day that we live for the rest of our lives is the prayer that Doug and I pray together. And it's from that place where God continues to grind us down to look more like Him. And our prayer each day is that we'll look more like Him. That's our desire for those who are a part of the Crossroads Farm staff team. Without the power of Jesus Christ, without His mission, there's nothing of any value.